Okay, so today we have something very interesting. A brand new old stock, still in the box, 29-inch Makvision Tri-Mode 3129 monitor. So the story behind this is a buddy up in Topeka has a bunch of buck hunter machines, and he contacted Suzo Hap and said, hey, I need some monitors for some buck hunters. Do you have any Makvisions left? And we all know that with the buck hunter and gun games is that you have to still use CRTs. There's no way at the moment to make them work with LCDs. So he contacted Suzo Hap and said, hey, I need some more monitors. And they said, well, we have one pallet left. Now, this is all hearsay from what I can remember from the conversation. But they said they have one pallet left of 6 29-inch Tri-Mode Makvision monitors. He said, I'll take them. So he bought the whole pallet, which was 6 monitors. He gets the pallet, opens up the first box, puts it in the buck hunter. It lasts for 1 week and dies. So he, contacted me and said, hey, I got 5 of these Tri-Mode Makvisions, and can you go through and bulletproof them to where they'll last longer than a week? I said, well, there's not really any way to bulletproof a monitor because the flyback could go out. There's any series of failures that could happen that are beyond your control. But I said, I can test it out. I can cap it, I can reflow it, do all the inspections, make sure it's good and working, and then at least that can be about the best that you can do. He said, okay, so he brought me one down from Topeka here. It's still in the box. Now the box is a bit damaged and everything, but it's still brand new in the box. So I gotta take it out of here, get it up on the bench here, and we'll check it out. But I'm gonna do my best to try and get that done. But this is just kind of a trial. We're gonna see how well this one goes. We're gonna get this one rebuilt and all that stuff, do all the preventative measures I can do. He'll put it in a machine, make sure it lasts for a while. If so, then he'll bring the other 5 down and I'll go through all those. And I won't make videos on those because they'll all be the same procedure as what you'll see here. But the first thing I need to do is actually just get this out of the box. It is wrapped here with this wrap to try and keep the box together because it does have some damage to it. I think what happened was they were trying to move it and they were pulling on it and they just ripped the side of the box open. But it is brand new in the box, never removed. You can see here that it has been in the box for quite a while before they took the styrofoam off of it because it is stuck to the degauss coil here. As common with stuff that's in styrofoam for a long time. I'm sure the other side will be just like this. And the only thing I see right out of the box, quite literally, well, actually, still in the box, is that the cable here has the little adapter board, but it's missing the other connector here with the CGA connection. So you can see here that it has the connector here. There's supposed to be another connector right there attached to that point that has a little jumper coming off of it with a connection style like that, or like this. So you should be able to plug this directly into an adapter that is connected to this, but that little piece is missing. But that's no big deal because we can just simply use somewhere up here. I have one of those little VGA CGA adapters. I'll use that. But yeah, this is missing the little piece, but no big deal. It won't affect what we're doing here. So I have to get this out of the box somehow. I want to be able to reuse the box here for the owner of this, and so he can transport it back up to Topeka. So let me try and figure out how to get this out of here, and then I'll get it on the bench here. We'll check it out, and it still even has the plastic on the front. So maybe that little piece is down inside of here somewhere too. I'll look for it. But anyway, let me get this out of the box. We'll get it up here on the bench, and we'll go through and start checking some stuff out. Okay, so here we have it extracted from the box. It is in great shape, of course. It does have the film on it still, like I talked about. There is a little bit of damage to the film here, but that was like that when I pulled it out. I did not do that. And the tube itself looks fine there. I checked that out up close. So everything here seems fine. It does have the remote board the remote adjustment board attached to the top of the frame here with some cutouts, which is pretty neat. I guess for games like Buck Hunter and stuff where you just take the bezel off real quick and you can make adjustments by staring at the screen. That's kind of handy, but if you're ever in a situation where you can't remove the glass and bezel and everything rather easily, you could remove this, I guess, and cut the zip ties and string it down to underneath the coin door or something like normally. But it is kind of convenient here if you're having an easy access game to this. It's not right up here on top. So Yeah, mounted right to the frame. Pretty neat. As far as the back goes, I did go ahead and check everything for security, neck board, anode cap and everything, or anode cup. It's all secure. Everything is clean and connected. Nothing is loose, all that. So we're ready to power it up and test it. I do want to test it before we do any work to it. That way, if we do some rework, recapping, which we will, and reflow and stuff, and it doesn't work on the back end, then we know it's something that I did and I can go back and do some troubleshooting. But if we don't test it first, I don't know if it's something I did or if it even worked beforehand. So you always want to test your stuff beforehand if you can. That way you can eliminate the factor of something you did or not. And it did not have the other little harness attached that goes here that connects to our video signal in the box. So we'll still keep this, give it back to the owner, but I did have to use, or I'm going to have to use one of these little adapter boards that accomplishes the same task. So I do have my CGA connected here through our TPG. We have power hooked up, so I'm just going to use a TPG here for quick testing on CGA. Then I'll flip the switch to EGA so we can test medium and standard res. Then I'll just hook the video signal here to the VGA for our VGA. Give this a quick test for all the inputs. Then we'll get cracking on doing a little overview and stuff like that, and the rework, and see how it works on the back end. But as far as this goes, we're ready for this to turn on and just test it. This model number is Charlie 3129 Delta Hotel Sierra Sierra. 15, 24, and 31 kilohertz respectively, so standard, medium, and VGA. Not much else to say right off the bat, so let's go ahead and just turn on our TPG and see if this thing works. Here we go, cross our fingers. There's a chance it might not work right out of the box. So 1, 2, 3. And it's dead. Right out of the box. Nothing. Well, imagine that. $500+ for a brand new monitor, and it doesn't even work when you first turn it on. Now you know why he sent me this, or brought me this one, because there's a chance out of 6 monitors, the first one he pulled out only worked for 7 days, and the second monitor he took out doesn't work at all. This is why you test things beforehand. Let's turn off our video signal and we'll try again here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And we are running. You can see my power supply. This thing is dead as a doornail. Right out of the box. Let's make sure we have a good connection on our power here. Nothing. Wow. Brand new out of the box. $600 monitor. Nothing. What do you expect? Makvisions. Nobody touches them. For this reason, they are a giant pile of junk. The caps on these things, I bet you the caps are just no good. These are, every cap on here is some off-brand piece of crap to cut down on production costs and things, and even then it's still $600 to buy one, and it doesn't work. Imagine spending $600 for this, getting it, finally opening it up, putting it on your bench or on your machine, turning it on, and it does nothing. These are just giant piles of crap. Anyway, okay, well, let me do some troubleshooting, see if I can figure out why it's not turning on. Okay, I went to check the fuse, and the whole fuse holder is loose. I mean, look, I don't know if we can zoom in here, but look at this. I'm not sure the fuse was even making contact, because if I can... Yeah. $600, and your fuse holder isn't even secure. So let me... Oh, man, that is... crap. This is the flimsiest fuse holder I've ever seen in my life. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. No, dead. The fuse is good, and we have. It doesn't even do anything. It does nothing, and we have power. Right there. This is all good. The connection is not bad. I use this every day. Nothing. Huh. Well, let me poke around a little bit more, see what I can find. Well, it's all apart on the bench, ready for us to take a look. I will say that it's an absolute nightmare trying to get this thing off the tube because you got to disassemble and dismantle the whole damn thing. I got the neck board removed. When it comes to connections like this, you see the little tabs there. So for instance, if you take your I believe this is the G2 wire, and this is a dual focus. So here's the G2 wire, it solders in right there. Then we have two focus wires. This is a dual focus chassis. See how there's two focus pins? This is a dual focus chassis and a dual focus picture tube. So you take your focus wire and you just kind of put it in here like so, and your white one, and put it in here like so, and now they're stuck in there, they don't come out. If you ever have a situation like this, how do you get these out of here? Well, you see the little tab in there, you just push down on the little tab and, well, I can't do it with one hand here, so you push down on the little tab and boop, it comes right out. Push down on the little tab and it just pops out on its own. So that's how those style of things come out. This neck board is off, as well as our entire remote board and harness, which has 3,000 connections, which goes all over the main board and neck board and everything. So we also had to take off our bottom plate here. It's all self-explanatory stuff. Just disconnect the connectors, take the screws out, unhook everything, you're left with this. So yeah, and this connects to our neck board. But I am 99.9% sure our problem is going to be caused by bad caps right out of the box. Because if you can help me understand what these caps are, Nikon. Anybody ever out there ever heard of a Nikon capacitor? Nikon. And here's another Nikon. I'm not familiar with. I've never seen a arcade monitor in my life that has Nikon caps, except for the Makvisions. And even like the 9200s and 9400s, they use cheap caps also, but at least they're somewhat known. Junfu. Junfu. You ever hear of Junfu? I haven't. What else we got in here? Yeah, Junfu, Luxon, or Lux, Luxon. I've seen those before, but those are off-brand. Just the caps on this on these are not good. They're just not good. And I am 99.9% positive our problem is just bad caps right out of the box. So our fuse holder was iffy, but I did verify the fuse is good. The fuse holder is now secure. We had 124 volts AC going into the system, but it was totally, completely dead. It didn't make a click. It didn't make a zap. It made no noise whatsoever. And it's just got to be caps. Now, the easiest thing we can do here is we can power it up in this configuration. Our horizontal output transistor is over here. Let's go over stuff. Okay. So our vertical deflection IC is this guy right there. Your vertical deflection circuit is this area here. This is your vertical deflection IC. Your horizontal output transistor is over here. So this is your horizontal drive section. Over here is your switch mode power supply, all the stuff on this side. And this here is your resolution PCB. And I can't stress this enough. Part of your reflow when you work on these is you must reflow all these connections because these are wave soldered and the solder joints are absolute garbage. So part of the reflow procedure is when you get one of these that's working and you just want to take it out, reflow it, cap it, things like that. Absolutely remove this board from the frame here and just go through and resolder everything on this entire board because this is your resolution board here. If you ever hook something up and it's chattering, then there's a relay on here, and that relay that you're hearing click back and forth 1,000 times a second is this relay that's right here. So that's what that is. The rest of the stuff is fairly self-explanatory. You've got 3 different B plus voltages here. So B plus here for 15 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz, 25 kilohertz, and 31. So standard, medium, res. 3 separate B plus settings there, which they're from the factory. You don't need to mess with those. This is your little connector here for your rotation ring on the back of your picture tube on the neck for the rotation. Here is the potentiometer here. No, this is sub-contrast. Sorry, sub-contrast. Rotation, I think, is actually on the remote board. No, one of these is rotation, I think. Here it is, sorry. Rotation's here. That's the connector. This here's your ABL. I can't recall what that is at the moment. I'll see if I can recall to look that up and see what ABL is. And this one says VS2. I think that's a sub-vertical size pot. Otherwise, I think that's about it. You have your, like I say, your MOSFET over here for your switch mode power supply. You have your IC1 over here, which is the controller for that, and various things, and vice versa, controller. They work in tandem. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much just passive components you're not going to have to worry about unless you have some type of problem on the back end. But why is this completely dead? Well, what we can do for quick troubleshooting is our HOT. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a look at solder joints here and make sure we don't have any problems with solder joints. Those look okay. Brand new out of the box, it does nothing. So you would imagine that they would test this at the factory before they put it in the box, and you'd imagine that they did, and it worked. Why is it now not working? Well, let's just do some poking around here. I had a train of thought there, and I'll get back to it, but let's just do some quick testing here first. Meter and continuity, leads. So that's our live. Fuse is good. Filter cap, yeah. Our neutral is good. Our transformer, that's good. Actually, that's the choke, actually. It's a choke. So that's all fine. What about our filter cap? Okay, that's good. Negative side is good. What about our bridge rectifier here? 0.5 and 0.5, that's fine. Anything else here? What about our MOSFET? We'll just check continuity here first. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. As far as the MOSFET goes, we should have a 0.5 voltage drop to one leg, and I think 1.0 to the other. Or I'm not sure exactly how this MOSFET works, but .6. Well, it's not shorted. Okay, so 0.48 and 1.9. I mean, I'm assuming that's okay. This looks kind of haggard here. So does that. What in the world is that? That's a capacitor. This is kind of weird here. Well, I don't see anything immediately. So my train of thought on this is what we can do is we can actually desolder the collector of the HOT, and that will allow us to power this up on the bench without energizing our horizontal output section when and if we figure out what's going on. So I'm going to grab my desoldering braid. I assumed that this would be a quick and easy video where I show it beforehand working, cap it, reflow it, show it afterward, and go through the features. And how stupid of me to think that that would happen on a Makvision. So the middle pin here on our HOT is the collector. And if you're ever doing this and you don't feel comfortable by desoldering the pin and moving it to where it doesn't make contact with the pad, you can always just simply remove the HOT completely, which will accomplish the same task. I gotta bend the pin back straight there. And let's make sure that that does not have continuity. We'll go to the next pad on the trace. We'll touch the pad. Let's touch the pin. Okay, so it still has continuity a little bit. Yeah, well, okay, let's do a little bit more clearing of this out. Wait a minute. Okay, HOT is not shorted. That was a little weird. Let's go back to here. Okay, there we go. There's a trace. No. What in the... Oh, I see. It's over on the other side. I might have to pull this out completely because it's not... Yeah, there's a little bitty flake that's still touching that side of the pin. Yeah, okay, we'll just add some fresh solder here and try again because I don't want to take the whole darn thing out. Yes, I should have a desoldering sucker or something like that, but I've explained before where I just don't like to use those things. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this without taking the whole thing out. Alright, well, again, the curse of the Makvision strikes. Nothing's easy. They're just a big piece of crap. If you have the opportunity to spend $600 on a monitor, don't buy the Makvision. It either won't work when you get it, or it'll last 7 days and it'll die. It's just a big piece of junk. Over-engineered piece of crap. Terribly assembled, terribly made. But I'm not bitter about it. I can't even get the stupid thing out of there. There we go. Oh, man. Well, that's weird. Oh, yeah. It's because that stayed behind. Doesn't matter because I'm going to put a FJL 6920 in here anyway. Okay. Still can't get the stupid thing out of here. What? This is insane. I'm telling you. Just big piece of crap. Good Lord. Okay. Jeez. So now with that out, and this is tangled all to hell, let's see if we can get this to do any kind of signs of life again. Do some probing around and see what we can come up with, because it doesn't do anything. If the MOSFET was shorted, it'd blow the fuse, or it doesn't even make it doesn't do a tick, a little click, it does nothing. Like there's no, like it's not even turned on. But okay, let's fire it up and see what it does. 1, 2, 3. Absolutely nothing. Broken solder joint? Now, of course, be careful when you're doing this. This is dead. I can't, this is crazy. Let's flip it over here and do some voltage testing. Let's go to volts AC, and we have across the fuse, 130 volt input. What about across our choke here? 130 and 1, okay. How about across this capacitor? Yeah. What about our filter cap? Filter cap is not... Huh. What about partial AC? Nothing. That's probably because I'm in AC, not DC, you dilt. Oh, there we go, because it's after the rectifier, you stupid nincompoop. 175 volts, so that's our B+. I wonder if we take our light bulb... Actually, you know what? Let me try something here. What kind of voltage do we have over at our HOT? Collector of the HOT. You can't even read that. I'm sorry. Nothing. But you'll see here I have 130 out of the choke, and then we have 175 volts across the filter cap. So that section's fine. And then it runs to our MOSFET, which may not be turning on. That may be the cause of our problem. If we go to our actual HOT, and you'll see here we have nothing at the collector. So, oh, hang on, what was that? Oh, it's ticking. Listen, there's a relay. Oh, there's a relay clicking now. It's alive. Hear it? We got a bad solder joint. But now it's clicking. And it's trying to energize our HOT. Look. We got 70 volts or whatever at our HOT. Okay. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to grab my light bulb, and we're going to attach one end to ground. And we're going to attach the other end to the collector of our HOT. And let's see if the bulb lights up. 1, 2, 3. Well, there you go. And it's running. And yep. Now it goes back to clicking. So we had a cold solder joint. Well, where, how, and what is... Oh, man. I'm going to grab a component leg here and let's... just solder a component leg to this. So that's the collector of our HOT. I'm going to turn my fan back on here. And we can clip. Now this is not an accurate place to measure B+. but I just want to see what it's reading here, because the light bulb isn't lit up very much. I think it's probably still 70 volts. But we'll clip on the ground here. I just want to see what this reads when we turn this on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's just 70 volts. The light bulb lights up, but it's not very bright. As far as B plus goes, let's go to the actual pot here. Nothing. That's the 15. I don't know what resolution this is firing up at, or if even this is even a decent place to check. I don't know where to check B plus at on this. Yeah, 71 volts. 72. So our B plus is firing up. It's only 72 volts, and that could be because we just don't have a load on this system that's proper. But we definitely had a cold solder joint of some kind, or something that needed to be jarred back to life, and it may be just bad caps or something, but I don't know where the B plus test point is on this, and regardless, I'm not. This is not the proper way to test this anyway. There's going to be a resistor somewhere that I'm probably going to have to hit to find the right B plus test point. Well, let me poke around and see if I can find some. I'm just curious what the B plus is supposed to read. There's 139 volts on this side of D14, and nothing on that side. So I wonder if it's this side. So let's go here. Let's touch here. And yeah, that's much brighter. And under load we get, oh, I lost my ground wire. We'll put it here. Under load we get 108. So that's definitely our B plus there. 108 volts. Well, I mean, the bottom line is it's working now. And let's discharge our filter cap. Okay, that's fine. Well, do I go ahead and just cap it, reflow it, and then hook it up and see what it does? Or should I hook it up the way that it is now, try it, and then, you know, I don't want to go through all that, pardon my French, bullshit. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and, now that we have it at least running now, I'm going to cap it, reflow it, do some more inspection, then I'll put it back together and put it back on the tube, and then we'll try it. But I think I'll show it off first before I put it back on the tube. Well, that's odd. Rotation. Okay, I missed this. There's another pot right there. It's trapezoid. So there's another pot right there for trapezoid. So I missed that one. Runs around in underwear. Trapezoid. Trapezoid. Okay, I'm going to replace this one with an FJL6920 because it'll be much more reliable. This HOT is this appears to be a 2SC5144, looks like. But if the FJL6920 is in here and then it goes bad, you know you actually have a problem. I can tell you from experience that I've had probably half a dozen Makvisions that just go tick, 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 and it's the HOT is shorted. And you think, okay, well, what would cause HOT to short out? And it turns out there's nothing wrong with the chassis. The HOT just simply died because it's a piece of junk. So we're going to go back in with an FJL6920. And speaking of which, let me just show you, if you're unfamiliar with what those are, I'll show you here thusly. They're a little bit beefier, more robust, more reliable type of HOT. And it looks just like the other one, but it's better. It looks like this, and you can see here it says J6920. Foxtrot Lima, or it's FJL. FJL, I don't know why it just says J. It's FJL, Foxtrot Juliet Lima 6920. So put one of these in here if you have one of these as a preventative measure, because the other one will just be a piece of crap. And take everything I say with a grain of salt too, but anyway. Okay, well, I'm going to get this in there and do a full cap kit and a reflow, and I'll come back and I'll show everything off. We'll get it back to, we'll put it back together on camera so you can see all the stuff that has to go back together on it. But you saw me moving it around like this and it never powered up. It wasn't until I touched the tab of the collector leg with my meter while it was powered on that it came to life. And that relay that was clicking was this, what you heard that clicking was this relay here. So it could be a bad connection. It could be a bad solder joint on the back of this board, which I'll take off and reflow that too. It could have been any number of things. Just it probably had a bad connection or a bad solder joint that got re-enabled when I was doing the testing here. So I don't know. It just never ends with these pieces of junk. So yeah, I don't have any idea what these flavor of caps are. Jun Fu. No. Nope. No. So all right, let me do the rework on this. If I come across anything odd, I'll show it. When I come back, hopefully, if nothing else goes haywire, I'll have this recapped, reflowed, new HOT installed, ready to put back together, and we'll go from that point. All right, well, about 3 hours later, I've got the whole thing done. Complete full cap kit. I had every cap on hand with the exception of one. This cap here, right there, is supposed to be a 3.3 microfarad. I only had a 2.2 on hand. So I put a 2.2 in there, and then I put a 1. So a 2.2 and a 1 to equal 3.2 microfarad in parallel with the 2.2. So 2.2 plus 1, 3.2, close enough, within spec. But I had every other cap that was required on hand. I didn't actually have a complete cap kit, a pre-fabbed cap kit on hand, so I went through my stash here and just had to do one cap at a time. That's why it took a bit longer than normal. But there's not really much else to discuss. Reflow is done. I do want to say that you need to reflow. Oh, hang on. Dropped the relay board there. You do need to reflow the header pins for the flyback, for the interconnect here, for the relay board. You need to reflow all of the joints for all the disconnects. So there's a disconnect here. There's a disconnect right there. This disconnect here, this disconnect here, that disconnect there, this disconnect there. All the disconnects need to have all their solder joints reflowed because they glue these in place. When you try and take them off the first time, you can actually crack the solder joints. So it's important to reflow all those. Also reflow your AC input headers, your filter cap, everything in the power supply, and anything that looks like it might need it, I would reflow all that. So I ended up having to reflow these joints here for this wire harness. I had to reflow the joints for this harness here because these were all silver and dull. Just go over it with a fine-tooth comb and reflow anything that you think might need it. So all that being done, I also want to say that clicking we heard when we first got this to work was actually this relay down here in the horizontal section and not the relay on the interface board here. I thought it was this one, but it actually was that one. I got the FJL6920 installed. So the main board here is ready to go. I got it all cleaned up and all the flux residue off and inspected, and everything should be good. Here are all the old crappy no-name off-brand caps. And I mean, who knows? I haven't heard of Jun Fu or Nikon. They may be out there as known brands, but I've never seen those ever on any arcade monitor chassis I ever worked on. There is one cap here, a 75 volt 4.7 microfarad bipolar cap, and that cap actually goes right here. But you can see I have this little tiny one in here. This is a 100 volt 4.7. So you got this giant one here is only 75 volt 4.7. This is 100 volt 4.7 bipolar. So I put that in there. It'll work just fine. So anyway, that's done. Neck board also done. And all that jazz. So that is good to go. And then on the little interface board here for the resolution with the relay and everything, I got all the caps changed on this. And it's important to reflow all of the joints for the relay. So all these joints here for the relay, all the interface connection boards here, or all the interface board connections, easy for me to say. Words are difficult. And all that jazz. So let's go ahead and get this back together. Move these out of the way. And we will reassemble this, and then we'll try and hook it back up. So, and give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'll have to just throw my hands up because I don't have any experience really troubleshooting anything with this other than a shorted HOT or bad caps. So if this doesn't fix it, I'm going to be at a loss. So we'll have to see what we can figure out here. And this goes back here. I hate magnetic screwdrivers. There we go. Never tighten down any screw before you get all of them started. I've learned that many years ago. So, oh, there's a stupid inductor there that stole my screw because it's magnetic, you bastard. One more. Okay. Now, if you're fast forwarding through this video and you missed this little tidbit, I feel sorry for you. So I forgot to mention right as I started recording here again that if the Makvision wasn't bad enough, I've already talked about how bad it is, it throws you one more curveball that if you're not paying attention you won't see and you'll not notice until it's too late and you'll need to redo all your cap kit. On any sane piece of electronics on the planet, I guess I'll say on every other piece of electronics on the planet, the side with the stripe is negative on the cap, and that's true. But on the Makvision, the side with the stripe is positive. So if we look, like let's say for instance right here. See right here where it has the side with the stripes and the side that's just plain? Any functioning logical human brain would assume that the negative side on the cap would go with the side with the stripes. Well, it's not. Makvision, again, as great as it is, in their infinite wisdom, decided to go ahead and do it backwards. So the side with the stripe is actually positive, and the blank side with nothing, no pattern, is the negative. Why would they do that? I don't know. Another example right here. You can see the side with the stripe is the positive, and the negative actually the side with nothing, with the blank. So any other logical brain and any other piece of electronics on the planet would be the opposite. Negative would be the side with the stripe, and positive would be the blank side. Well, nope, Makvision's backwards. So one more thing to screw you over when you're trying to work on this stuff. It just doesn't ever end. So, okay, that's back on. Let's get our neck board connected again. Connected again. La-di-di-di-da-da, connected again. And now we need our remote board. So this is going to be fun here. This connector connects to our neck board like so. And then the rest of this goes to our main board. Thusly. So this one will go here. And this one, I believe, goes here. And I took pictures so we can verify, but it's pretty self-explanatory because everything kind of guides you to where it needs to be. Okay, that one's on there. Now, see, those two are long that go there. Then we have the short ones here. So This one obviously goes here. This one obviously goes here. This connector here is the rotation one from our yoke, so we know that's not any of these. This one I marked with a Sharpie because it goes back here. Because there are two connect. This one can go onto the V-hold here, or it can go back here, and you can get these mixed up. So I marked that one. So we'll put that back where it was. Okay, that's on there. We got one left, which is the V-hold here, and that's all she wrote. We'll put this back where it was, inside the holder here, and twist it, bop it, and flick it. And pull it. So that basically is all of this back together, but now I need to put this back on here. Let's make sure we do it the proper way, just like so. And there are a couple of caps that are down in here that are a nightmare to try and replace, but I got them. And I also took pictures of this before I did the cap kit and compared the picture afterward, and I didn't have any caps backwards. So I'd recommend highly to take a picture of something this complicated, so that way you can go back and look later on and verify you didn't put any caps in backwards. So that's what I did for that. Let's get all these screws back in here, and then we should be able to, I'm not going to show it on film or on camera, but I'm going to go through and get this all reconnected back to the tube, and then when I come back here, we should be able to fire it up and see if it does anything different. I'm hoping so. That actually goes in that hole, not in the corner. Okay. La dee 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 da da together again. Okay, this one here. Should be one left. There it is. And voila. All right, one tri-mode Makvision monitor back together. Got our red wire, snap, white wire, snap. There they are. We got to resolder in our G2 wire. And I mentioned before that this is a dual focus flyback and a dual focus tube, which I'll show you here in a moment. I think that's here. I'm not sure where that goes. Let's do it. So it's right there, okay. I was going to say, that didn't seem right where I was trying to do that. Any chance that'll go through? Of course not. Well, I was trying to take the easy way out, and it didn't work. Okay, that should push through now. Nope. Why is everything always difficult? Can somebody please explain it to me? Because I don't have an answer. There we go. Okay. So the G2 wire is soldered back on. Neck board is officially reattached. And if you look here, you'll see that there are two focus pots here. You have the screen pot and upper perimeter focus and center. I think the top one is for your perimeter focus. The middle one's for the center focus. But yeah, it's a dual focus with the two focus pins here, like I mentioned. So, all right, that is a put back together Makvision. So let me get it back on the tube. Oh, I have to put this back on, which I'll do it later if it ends up working. And we'll cross our fingers, turn it on, see what happens. Okie dokie, so we have the chassis back on the tube, ready to turn it on and test it. I don't know why it didn't work before, why it was totally dead. I thought it might have been a bad solder joint, but as soon as we tapped and touched that collector of the HOT for the light bulb test, it came on and worked. So I think maybe the little relay there in the horizontal section might have been stuck, because this thing was shipped on its side and transportation and banging around. It might have just been a stuck relay, quite honestly, now that I think about it. But regardless, it should work now at least, because we know the light bulb test worked and I capped it, verified the caps were all in the right position, the right polarity, the right ratings, all that stuff. So it should work. So nothing left to do but give it a try. We have our anode, neck, yokes hooked up. We have our ground, power, video, remote, obviously here. And I don't have all the grounds connected because this one actually goes to the frame. It goes actually right there. There's another ground that goes to the back plate for the neck board. I had to take the little back plate off here to get the neck board off, get it back on. So that's why this is all connected here this way, because this attaches to the back plate. I didn't want to take that apart. There's a ground right there that goes to the frame. There's a ground that goes to this point there. So I don't have none of those hooked up because it doesn't really matter. You don't need that for this. But, okay, TPG. Oh, have I left the TPG on for 3 hours? Probably, but let's see if it works. I don't know. We're just looking to see, make sure it even turns on now. And if it does, what kind of image we get. So enough jibber jabber. Here we go. Let's cross our fingers. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, at least it turns on. What do we get, please? Oh, yes. Oh, I did not want to have some type of problem with this. It's just so, and I can't believe this is still running for 3 hours. I guess, well, I think I had a fresh battery in it, but anyway. So, wow, yes, okay. Let's see if we can go ahead and make some adjustments here. Vertical size. I need to do position here. Vertical position. Okay, vertical size. Yes. Let's bring the position back down a little bit. Okay. H position. Let's do H size here first. H position. That's pin cushion. We'll leave that there. H position. Slide it over there. We'll do width and voila, full screen. Fan freaking tastic. Let's shut this off, go to medium res, turn it back on. There's our medium res, fantastic. We do need to adjust brightness, contrast, and such. Our brightness is too bright. Let's turn that down to there. Turn our contrast up. Okay, oh, there we go. We gotta switch to 1K ohm. And that's pretty good. We need to adjust our focus though. I'm not going to worry, I guess, too much about it, but let's go ahead and see if we can make some type of adjustment here. Ooh, right there is pretty good. That's the top focus. Let's go to the middle focus, and right there is good. That looks pretty good. Let's check our RGB. That's pretty good. Yes. Well, let's see if we can get... Let's see if we can get VGA here. Let's just use this little ELF board here. I have a 750-in-1 ELF or whatever the heck this stupid thing is. I think it's actually set to VGA. I'm not sure. You know what? No, let's just grab the 60-in-1. I have a 60-in-1 here. I know that'll work. Actually, let me cut away. I'll come back and we'll have this up and running with the VGA for testing that. Well, it didn't like my 60-in-1 board, and it didn't like my ELF board. The ELF board, it just scrambles back and forth. The 60-in-1, it scrambles back and forth. So I went and used my little cheap $100 remanufactured laptop and forced it into 640 by 480, and voila, no problem. So it must be something with the frequency. It may not be 60 hertz. It may be like 59.7 or something. There's something with these boards where it doesn't like the sync signal. And I guess I'll go ahead and show you. But as far as the VGA input absolutely works just fine. You can see it's paired to the screen there. If I actually bring up oh, it may not even work. This computer is so bad. You know, if I bring up, let's just say, game terminal, it may take 20 minutes for a folder to open. But you can see here, if I move the mouse around, it's connected to it. So the VGA input absolutely works. So all three inputs good. Picture is fantastic. This is now repaired and working. But why it doesn't like, I've seen it finally brought the folder open. This computer is like the bare bones of PCs, and it looks much better in person. I still have the screen wrap on here. I'm not going to take that off, but it's super sharp and crisp and everything. Well, the phone doesn't do it justice, but I got the focus adjusted and everything, and see, it doesn't even know how to open up a JPEG. Let's go to photos here. Anyway, so I'm going to hook up the VGA back to this and plug it in. You'll see that it just goes kind of crazy. So the VGA input works just fine. There's supposed to be, there's a little pot right here on the board that you can adjust the 31 kilohertz frequency range, but I adjusted it and it didn't really make any difference for this particular issue. But let me go ahead and disconnect this. So you know the VGA works. If I plug it into the 60-in-1 here, then I plug the 60-in-1 board in. Here's what it does. Oh, gosh darn it. It's set to CGA. Ugh, I was messing with it earlier. So dip switch 2 is VGA. So now I have to turn it off and back on, and here's what it's doing. See? It doesn't like the refresh rate or a signal or something of this. Now, if I take this adjustment pot here for the frequency and try and change it on the fly, right? I just turned it all the way up. It was right in the middle. Turn it back on. It does the same thing. So there's something with that 60-in-1 that it doesn't like, whether it's the refresh rate or something. So you'd think that the VGA input has some type of problem. Well, no, it depends on the signal that's being fed. Turn it back on. Yeah, see, it doesn't like it. So there's something with that signal. Regardless, you know, if I take this and disconnect it and plug it right back into the pooter here. This way, yes. I can't get it to stay in there. Let's see if that does. Oh, did I turn it off? Yeah, I turned it off. It still hasn't brought that picture up. There you go. Works just fine. So it's not the monitor or the input. Well, it is. There's something about the signal that this is putting out that it doesn't like. But as far as the monitor goes and everything, you know, if you put this in a Buck Hunter or something that uses a PC, it'll be fine. This whole time we've been waiting, it still hasn't brought the picture up. That's how slow and bad this is. All I use this for is for a situation exactly like this. If I need to put a VGA, a known good stable VGA input that's reliable into a monitor, that's the only thing I have this for. That's the only purpose this thing serves in its life. And it still hasn't brought the picture up. Anyway, so this is now fixed and repaired. I don't know what was the cause of it not turning on. Like I say, I think it probably was just a... oh, maybe? Oh, there we go. Oh, it's a video. That's why it was taking forever. This is from my game terminal trip in Tennessee back in 2021. But yeah, I'm not sure what was the cause of this. I think it might have just been a stuck relay that fixed itself after I kind of touched the collector with some voltage on the HOT. I don't know, but this should be reliable now. Brand new, fresh Nichicon 105-degree caps, FJL 6920 HOT, reflow. So all that could really be detrimental to this is if the flyback fails. Otherwise, it should be functional for a reliable amount of time, hopefully. So anyway, I think I might have 4 more of these, or maybe 5. I have to fix that one that died. I might have 5 more of these to do here in the future. But if anything is different between those and this one, I probably won't do. I'll do a video maybe, but if it's not any different, I'll probably just leave those being done in the background. But anyway, there you go. Let's close this out. And Alt-Enter. Alt-Enter. Nope. This computer is so bad, I can't do anything. Alt-Enter. Nope. Regardless. So there you go. Hopefully you learned something. I need to go ahead and put the back plate back on, screw everything back together, put this back up on the top, tie everything back up, get it back to the way it was when it came out of the box, and I'll get it back to the owner. So yeah, hopefully you learned something. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. And this stupid thing, it's so bad. I can't even close stuff out. There we go. And stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.